press for drapes.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
It's the Al Travis Show. We love having this next author, businessman. In fact, his book is on the Al Travis list of best-selling books for the last 2 weeks running. I thank him for being here. He's Erich Mische. Erich, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. So is that first bumper music, that must be is that a new one?
No, for folks, a little behind the scenes, I had an artist, Andy Lacoste out of Minneapolis, make this thing for him. Best musician I know. He created the Al Travis. It's the Al's. Well, I'm going to forget the name. It'll come to me. Anyway, he made it for me in the program, and it's the background music. If folks were not tuned in, they're taking, if other radio stations are taking the news or something like that, they'll hear the news. They won't hear that bumper music, we call it. Okay. That's Phil, so that if something were to go wrong and a news thing didn't happen, there would be something there. Al's Place is the name of the song. So, you like it? You did a nice job, I thought.
I was jamming to it. I was getting down to it.
Andy Lacoste from up in the Twin Cities. Your book has come out. Is it going well? Go effing do something. We talked a little bit about that. I only bring it up in this segment because all proceeds go to S.A.V.E.
That's right. We had a nice little book release party earlier this week. A nice turnout. Got to see a bunch of people I hadn't seen before, and not so much seen before. Hadn't seen in a long time. It's going great. I've got did a couple interviews in addition to yours, and then I've got another one coming out on Monday or Tuesday, and so it's nice response to it. I didn't expect it. I don't expect it to be on the New York Times bestseller list, but
I didn't say the New York Times. I said the Al Travis book list because it's one of my faves.
That one is definitely on, which is more important to me than New York Times. So.
Less books to read through to find out who's on the top. It's just I have a small list. I don't read a lot. S.A.V.E. is what we're here for. Suicide Awareness, Voices of Education. I know the program you want to talk about today, and how to get into this. Obviously, the idea of S.A.V.E. is to prevent suicide. I mean, I get that. And numbers tend to be trending down, if I remember you on a couple of weeks ago. All good news. But it still happens.
Yeah.
And what do we do? Does S.A.V.E. do for those that are left over after? Is there something to help those people?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So a couple things I want to talk about quick today. One is what we call LOST teams, stands for Local Outreach to Suicide Survivors. This is not a new initiative. It's being done in other states across the country. The Minnesota Department of Health approached us a couple of months ago and asked us to launch a LOST team in Minnesota so we could get something like that started in this state. The basic concept of a LOST team is, think about it as first responders to a suicide. A situation where a family has experienced a suicide in their home. Emergency responders show up, first responders show up. Their job in a scenario like that is to determine what happened. They're not there to provide emotional support to the family. They're there to do their work. And so what's not there oftentimes is somebody who can talk to that family and talk through with them what are some resources, both in terms of counseling, expenses, things like that. And the idea here is that individuals who are suicide loss survivors, who they themselves have experienced a suicide loss, we train them. We provide them materials and training for how to engage with a newly bereaved family, to provide them support. And so the way this works, in fact, we're just launching this as a pilot with the city of Bloomington, with their public safety department. And what'll happen is that we will get a phone call or a text message from a first responder letting us know that a family has requested a LOST team at their home. Now, they may request that immediately. They may request that a couple days after the situation has come up. But here's the goal and objective, Al. What we know is that those who are more susceptible to suicide are those who are directly impacted by it. So that if you're a
Okay.
surviving family member, you are more at risk as a result of that suicide than anybody else on earth, right? And so the goal here is both what we call postvention, which is to provide support to families after a suicide so that they have access to counseling, they have access to resources, but it's also prevention. It's to
Hmm.
make sure that those family members are getting the support they need so that they don't continue that cycle. And
Sure.
so we're excited by it because one, it gives those who are suicide loss survivors an opportunity to be able to intervene, be first responders, if you will. Two, it allows us in real time to provide support to that family. And then third, what it does is it provides an extra level of prevention support, which is
Yeah.
absolutely critical in a situation like this.
Slow this down for me because I've known some folks in this situation, and two, my dad passed after years of cancer. Right? I'm not saying it was easy, but you can go down that road. You know where things are coming. You see what's happening. Accidental deaths. It happens you weren't expecting. There's a huge grief that hits you right away. Suicide, I imagine, is the exact same thing. Someone commits suicide. The family finds out. The first responders show up. I can't imagine that's the time. And I guess I'm just looking at it. You almost black out with the information you're being fed
Yeah.
with. It's this, and this, and then some EMT says, "Would you like me to call the loss team?" And I don't want to call them the loss team.
Yep.
And you're like, I don't care. Is there something to saying I'm leaving this loss team card here? Need you to call them in 2 days? You know what I'm saying? That seems like such the last thing I would think anybody would want is more people in the room.
No, you're very, very perceptive and observant. Thank you for raising that. So the goal here is to make that resource available when the
Okay.
family needs it. Okay.
Okay.
And so there may be many families who you're exactly right, who are just like, I can't deal with this right
Yeah.
now. There may be those families though that say, I need somebody to come here and
Come.
talk.
Yeah.
There
Sure.
is a lot of factors that go into this scenario. And so I'd invite people to go to our website at S.A.V.E..org and go look at the suicide support tab there. You can learn more about loss teams. But the goal and objective, again, is to be able to add that extra layer of support
I love
for
this.
a family who's gone through this scenario. Because you raised a really important point, Al, which is suicide is a really, really complex issue and challenge. Those who are suicide loss survivors deal with a number of emotions and feelings that are really unique to
Yes.
suicide versus someone who's, as you know, my previous work at S.A.V.E., we worked with a lot of families who had family members who died from cancer, car
Mm.
accidents, things like that. Terribly traumatic, terribly sad, but the grieving process is significantly
Much different.
different than those who are suicide loss survivors. And so having this resource there is an incredibly important part of that. Again, what we call postvention, which is providing support after a suicide, and also prevention, which is what we do when we provide that support to help those affected family members most immediately impacted by that suicide.
Now this starts. You mentioned Bloomington. You're giving this a test run. I'm all about nothing wrong with Bloomington being your home run. Do you have the team set up? Are you looking for people, and what are the requirements if you wanted to be on the team, the
Yeah,
loss
so
team?
so a couple things we're looking for. We will be looking to do this in other communities throughout the state. So if anybody's listening to this and goes,
Yeah.
well, I'd like to learn more about it, they should reach out to me and I can put them in touch with our loss team leader, Brittany
Okay.
Sensor. But if you live in a community where you think this is something that is of interest to you,
Benefit.
by all means, reach out to us. Right now, what we're looking for are lost team volunteers who live within 25 to 35 minutes of Bloomington.
Okay.
The goal is as we expand this throughout the state in each community where we're doing it, that is kind of the
Sure.
range, if you will, so that you've got people who are generally readily available to be responsive. So if folks would like to learn more about it, they'd like to volunteer to be a lost team member, they'd like to bring this to their community, they can send me an email, go to the website, reach out to me at S.A.V.E..org. I'd be happy to talk to them.
Fair enough. I love the idea of this program. Got to find a way to make this thing fly because, again, I've seen this from the outside looking in, and the devastation to a family because no one knows what to do or say at that. I mean, it's just such a strange process. This can help out a ton. Minnesota's first lost team. You want to be a part of it, go to S.A.V.E..org, go under the programs tab. At the bottom that says support for suicide loss survivors. Hit that tab and you'll find the lost button. We've got lots more to talk about. I've got him, Erich Mische with S.A.V.E. We talk right after this.
Tired of one-sided media and divisive noise drowning out your conservative values? Take back the conversation with Braver Angels. Join a grassroots movement to restore civility and find common ground without compromising your principles. As a conservative, your voice matters. Share your perspective on issues like immigration and public health in red-blue workshops and help rebuild trust in our great nation. Be a leader in depolarizing America. Sign up for free at mn.braverangels.org. Braver Angels, where conservatives, liberals, and independents unite for a stronger republic.
Chanhassen Dinner Theaters brings you its most popular show of all time, Grease. You'll hear all your favorite hits from the Broadway musical and the movie. Join the whole gang at Rydell High. We'll sing, we'll dance, we'll bring you back to high school life in the 50s. Poodle skirts, bobby socks, the soda shop, and drive-in movies. Grease! It'll rock your socks off. Order your tickets today. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Are you kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-ALS-SHOW.
We've got him, Erich Mische, director of S.A.V.E..org, Suicide Awareness, Voices of Education. 2 quick notes. If this hits your ear weird, if this makes you feel in any way that you might want a little help, call or text 988. Just give that a call or text 988. If it perks you up to say, maybe there's something here for me as far as family support, any of the things we're talking about, go to S.A.V.E..org, S-A.V.E.org, take a look around. Erich, so we talk about after a suicide, and obviously your guys' entire mission is to, prevent them. What can people do? What can Al, the average guy, do to help out pre-event?
So what Al, the average guy, can do is what you do every time you have me on the show, which is to talk about suicide. And that's a key piece of what we have to do if we're going to be successful at helping to prevent it, right? Which is to raise awareness, talk about it. So what I want to direct people to, again, to go to our website, S.A.V.E., and go to the tab Education and Training. We have a free 30 to 40-minute online training program called One Step Ahead. It is on what's called the Best Practices Registry. So it's an evidence-based program. It's free. Nobody's going to follow up and try to sell you something. It's confidential, the whole thing. But anybody can go on it. It's self-led. You go on, you click it on, you sign up for it. And what it does is it helps you to understand how to, how to not just recognize the signs of someone who might be having suicidal ideation, but how to talk to somebody. The challenge for most of us, Al, is having a conversation with someone about suicide is not something we do on our everyday life.
Yeah.
And what we try to emphasize, and you and I talked about this very early on, is One Step Ahead is really our CPR program and training for suicide prevention, right? We train people how to intervene when someone's having a stroke or a heart attack. Yeah. And the goal here is to provide that training for someone to be able to intervene, if you will, in a scenario where someone they know might be struggling or having a crisis. And so this is a really easy, simple way to get involved. It's 30 to 40 minutes long. Go to S.A.V.E.org. It's called One Step Ahead. It's on our education and training programs. And what it does is, first of all, teaches you how to introduce that conversation with someone. The second thing that it does is that if somebody you're talking to says, yep, I'm struggling, I'm thinking about hurting myself or suicide, it also gives you the tools about what to do with that information, right? And it makes it easier for everybody to understand, both the person that you're talking to as well as the person who's doing the talking and listening, about what they could do to help support someone who's in crises. And then I want to reiterate what you said at the beginning of this segment, which is one of the resources that's also out there that's free, that's there 24 hours a day, is 988. What I would tell anybody, whether you want to take our One Step Ahead training, or you're finding yourself or somebody you know who's struggling and you don't know what to do, call that number, text it, chat it, 988, 24/7, confidential. The people at the other end of that conversation are trained to provide you with support. And the best part about 988, Al, is that no matter where in the country you're at, it can localize resources for you.
Oh, wow.
So
whether
you're living in St. Paul, Minnesota, in Mankato, Red Wing, Thief River Falls, wherever it is that if you're struggling yourself, or you have somebody who's struggling and you're not quite sure what to do to help them, 988 is an incredible resource that can help you identify resources near to you as well. So I would encourage people, go to S.A.V.E.org, take our One Step Ahead training. Again, it's free. There's no obligation. Nobody's going to try to upsell you anything. And at any time of the day or night, if you find yourself in a situation where you need help, somebody else you know needs help, call, text, or chat 988.
I would throw this out here. We all took it back in the day, the CPR training in the S.A.V.E. And I can tell you, I probably couldn't pass the test today, whatever they test us in health class. But I remember staying alive. I remember the basics, and I know that if I could help, I can, right? You don't have to do the mouth thing anymore, new deal. This 40-minute training from you guys, my point is, if we all took that because we knew it might work for us someday down the road to help somebody, how do you not take 40 minutes out of this next week, go there, go through the class, and again, you're not going to be an expert on it, but it's going to make you better at it. Maybe it's going to give you that one thing that God needs you to have in your arsenal when you come into that situation. 40 minutes doesn't cost anything. Seems like the least we can do.
Yeah, I mean, it's I would, one of the things that I wrote an op-ed, the Star Tribune, about a month ago, and one of the things that I'm encouraged public officials to do, state legislators, county officials, all of them to take that training themselves, and then to share that out to their constituents. We should make sure that anybody who has a voice and a megaphone takes this kind of training so they go out there and make sure that other people are prepared.
I love that. I got to fly, Eric. We're out of time. Erich Mische with S.A.V.E. S.A.V.E.org. Again, 988 is the number to call or text if you're having a problem. Back after this.